I'm sure you can hear it behind me, homie, but it's loud. And there's just under a minute 30 left in the game right now. Incarnate Word is trying to string a drive together, and Lindsey Scott just broke loose, throws a deep ball, and it is intercepted by NDSU, and that should just about do it. It looks like the Bison, barring a mishap, are going to be headed back to Frisco.
What should the fans be looking out for?
Thanks, Nick. Well, this should be a very interesting game. I talked to a member of the Montana Grizzlies, the team that James Madison eliminated last week. He said this is the toughest opponent that they saw all year. Now, keep in mind that the Grizz beat the Washington Huskies early in the season, and so they are up for quite the challenge. And the name you need to know at home is Cole Johnson.
What do you think contributed to the slow start there from both teams?
Yeah, you know, Hami, it was just a battle of strength against strength. NDSU obviously has a dominant run game, and then Samford might have been the toughest run defense that they played all year. And it wasn't just a slow first quarter, but really NDSU didn't punch it in until late in the second quarter. It was almost 0-0 heading into the break instead of 10-0 in favor of the Bison, but they just stuck with it. Basically, it was a very tense atmosphere here in the Fargo Dome early in the game, as NDSU just kept bringing the pressure. Code Green doing their jobs, especially bringing the pressure after the quarterback and staying disciplined in the secondary. And it seemed like the Bulldogs really couldn't even get a yard. I don't think they got a yard their first three drives of the game.
NDSU has been favored throughout the playoffs, and they are 3.5-point underdogs coming into this game. How do you think that will factor into Sunday's marquee matchup?
Well, the last time they were actually an underdog was against Sam Houston back in 2011, way back when they're winning that first FCS national championship. And so it's kind of foreign territory at that point. That being said, it's definitely some chalkboard material. Well, Hami, I'm suspicious that SDSU took a good look at the skeleton that NDSU has built, and they looked at what's worked for them. And both of these teams, it's no mistake, are extremely strong up front on both sides of the ball. They win the battle of the trenches, they outlast their teams, and their conditioning winds up being a massive factor. And so you look at what SDSU did, and they kind of took that blueprint from NDSU, and then they applied it to beat NDSU at their own game. They were more physical, and you look at the second half in particular, NDSU might have rested on their laurels. You think about that late interception in the second quarter, and then SDSU gets that. They are, down 21-7 instead of, being on their deathbed there. They have a little chance to breathe, and then they're able to rally, and they're able to run the ball all over NDSU and control the game, control the clock in the second half. And NDSU really had a hard time tackling the ball carrier.
West Fargo Winter Classic. We just had a good one wrap up the boys game between Marshall and Fargo North. Fargo North wins that one 4-2. We'll have highlights coming up later tonight. But Ryan, it's been a long day of hockey. We've been out here all day.
Yeah, and how about this setup here?
This one took 3 periods and half of overtime to see its first goal. But it was a game winner from Kenley Fisher to give the Spruans the 1-0 overtime win. And we had a lot more coming up, and I'll tell you what. You know what's a bonus is when you go to these events, you find yourself with a little souvenir. Check that out, folks. Right over the glass, into my hands. You could have one too, but you got to get out here.
Yeah, one more game at 7 o'clock. Also coming up in our 9th.
Welcome back to beautiful Newman Outdoor Field, where the Fargo Moorhead RedHawks begin their title defense tonight, taking on the Sioux City Explorers in Game 1 of this best-of-3 series. And we are just minutes away from first pitch. RedHawks ace and all-time leader in wins and strikeouts in the American Association, Kevin McGovern, is on the hill. We'll be back in studio with highlights in our 9 o'clock show. Until then, I'm Adam Chalifoux reporting live from Newman Outdoor Field.